Alrighty, welcome back everyone to Phasmophobia. Hope you're all having a lovely day. We'll be discussing hiding, and specifically hiding on Tanglewood. Don't worry, we will cover hiding on every map. I was just not sure if I wanted to do it all in one video, or split each map into their own videos, and this is the route I have taken. It makes sense since maps are getting reworked in the future, and I don't have to redo a whole video, unless something major happens like the player's hitbox getting bigger. These videos will be catered to newer players, however, veteran players can still learn from these videos, and maybe I can show you some spots that no one has even considered. There will be two parts in each of these videos, and they are all timestamped. The first part is me showing you the map on my iPad where each hiding spot is located, and they are all ranked based on how safe they are from my experience. The second part of the video is me showing you the spots in-game and discussing why each spot may be good or bad. So, without further ado, let's get started. Alright, so here we have a map of Tanglewood, and there's a bunch of symbols and drawings on it. What do they all mean? So here's a legend of what each of these symbols means and the colors associated with them. So if your color is higher up in the legend, then it's safer, but the lower it is, the more risky or more dangerous that spot is. So here we are on Tanglewood. Let's start off with the official hiding spots because these are pretty interesting. So we have a total of 6 on Tanglewood. You have a closet here, here, and here. There's the lockers in the garage. You have the nursery here, and then you have the basement hiding spot here towards the back. 4 of the 6 hiding spots, they're closets or lockers. Those are your best hiding spots on Tanglewood. They will keep you safe as long as your equipment is off. Now, this spot here in the nursery is a good spot. However, this spot tends to do worse at higher ghost speeds. So if you're dealing with a revenant that has detected you over here, what happens sometimes is the ghost will overshoot and it ends up here, and then it sees you right there, and then it will get you. Or if you're on 150 ghost speed and you're dealing with Moroi or Raichu or Hantu or an unaged Thaye, then it tends to overshoot more often and it will see you. And there is always that chance the ghost decides to set a waypoint here, even if it's a slow ghost or a normal speed ghost, and it will see you there. Not the best hiding spot, but there are definitely worse hiding spots. This one I would trust still, even though it can set a waypoint there. And then we have the basement hiding spot here. So let's just visualize what this spot looks like. So there's a shelf there, and then you have this wooden board here. And you might think, that should be a pretty good spot. The ghost should not go in there. Well, except there's a problem. The ghost tends to path in there sometimes, and it takes a shortcut in doing so. So the ghost would come down the stairs, and it would sometimes check here, check here, check here, check here. But sometimes it wants to go in here because it thinks this spot here, let me get a smaller eraser, it thinks this spot here doesn't exist. But it kind of does at the same time because it blocks line of sight, but it doesn't prevent the ghost from walking inside of there and getting you. That's why that spot is not very good. And when the board is removed, then of course it will get line of sight of you, no problem. And so, because of the ghost going into the hiding spot through the boards, that's why this is orange. The only reason why this is not a red is because the boards prevent line of sight. If that wooden board did not prevent line of sight, it would have been a red and would have been one of the worst official hiding spots ever. And now let's go into the unofficial hiding spots because those are also interesting. Here, there's not a lot of blues or greens or purples or anything. You only have a single yellow and a bunch of oranges and reds. Now, not all of these hiding spots are bad, and they're all kind of unique in their own ways. Let's start off with this closet here in the boys' bedroom. So, what's interesting about this hiding spot is even though the closet itself is blocked, you can position the door this way, and the ghost will only get line of sight of you if it goes here. And you'll only die if the ghost goes there or if it decides to walk like that. But otherwise, if the ghost goes here, goes here, goes here, 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 or here, the ghost will not get you. So that's why it's a pretty decent hiding spot. Now, even though that hiding spot is blocked, you can still use the doors to block line of sight, and that's a big deal. Now, the other closets, however, have a bit of a different story to them, and they can be pretty good, but it requires practice. So, what you would do here is you would kind of squish yourself in like this, and the ghost will path that way and that way and will walk past you, and it will sometimes open the doors because you are not holding the doors. If you are holding the doors and the ghost interacts with the one that you're not holding, what's going to happen is you're going to push this door in on yourself and squish you out into the open, and the ghost will see you and it will get you. So that's why you should not hold the doors closed and instead just kind of leave them as is. And if the ghost interacts with the door, you would just pull the door in on yourself quickly, and the ghost should not be able to see you. If it does, you would have an incense on you, ideally. And the same thing can be said about this door here. You just close the doors in on yourself, don't hold them, and you should be okay. If you don't want to do those hiding spots when they're blocked, that's okay. It does take some skill to master it. Now let's talk about the nursery hiding spot here. Now, as of the 0.11 update, the player's hitbox got bigger, just slightly. And what that means is the ghost can see you slightly more often here than prior to that update, because you're out here a little further, and because of that, there is a little more risk. Before this 0.11 update, I actually had this hiding spot as yellow, but as of the 0.11 update, this hiding spot here is not as reliable, but it can still be viable. And then you have these two hiding spots in the master bedroom here. And these are pretty different, and these hiding spots are not often discussed, if at all. So in this bathroom here, there's a little table here that you would hide behind. It is not the safest, especially if the ghost is in this master bedroom a lot. And sometimes it does decide to path in here, and it will see you. So ideally, you would have incense on you. But sometimes in this room as well, it would path in here as well. So that makes this hiding spot not as safe as well. But here, you would hide behind some boxes, and the collider is actually pretty tall. So you would just squish yourself between the boxes and the walls, and you would actually be mostly okay there as long as it doesn't path into the walk-in closet here. Then let's go to the garage here. You actually have a looping spot here, and this looping spot here, it blocks line of sight as long as you're crouching, but if you're at this section of the car here, then you can stand and it will still block line of sight, but if you're here, then you will have to crouch to prevent line of sight. And if you're on higher difficulties, then hiding behind this car here can be ideal. And if the ghost comes in through here, then you move accordingly like that. And then here, you can still hide with the locker. So what you would do is, pretend this is the locker here. You would open this door all the way open, and then this door you would close in on yourself. So you'd have this triangle here, and it might be slightly open for you. That's okay. The ghost will not get line of sight of you. The only way the ghost will get you is if it opens this door here and you're not quick enough to close it, or if the ghost decides to path in here and it can get you that way. We also have a looping spot in the kitchen, so as long as you're crouched and the ghost does not sense your equipment or whatever, then you are fine. You can hide behind here or here. Now, sometimes it will path in here, so you would just move the player accordingly, just like that. And over here, the ghost will get line of sight of you always, so if you're looping the ghost there, make sure you have an incense on you because the ghost will speed up. And then lastly, upstairs, you have this little drawer here that you can hide behind. And it's not the safest spot because what happens sometimes is the ghost tends to make a waypoint in the dining room somewhere. And this can be problematic because let's say the ghost decides to set a waypoint here and it's walking all the way over here. It's over here. It sees you over here and then it's going to beeline it towards you. That spot, I'd recommend having an incense on you. Then we go to the basement. And down here we have the back hiding spots behind the shelves. And just like the official hiding spot, it's not the safest because the ghost tends to path down here a lot. However, there is a better one over here. And if the ghost is pathing this way and this way a lot, going back and forth, then the fridge hiding spot is actually not bad. The only downside to this hiding spot is if it decides to set a waypoint over here, of course the ghost will see you and get you. Or another case, if the ghost is fast on a 150% speed, so you have a Thay or a Moroi that's really fast, what tends to happen is the ghost wants to go over here, it sets a waypoint over here, but then it overshoots. And then it does something like that, and then it goes over there and gets you. And so if you have a faster ghost, it makes those wider turns, and this hiding spot here is not as safe. So now let's go into the gameplay and see how each of these hiding spots work. All right, so now we're onto Tanglewood, and we're going to show you the official hiding spots. So in the foyer here, just as you walk in, you have two closets, and there's one right here. There's also one right here. These hiding spots can be blocked if you're playing on higher difficulties, so make sure to check if they're open or not. But all you do is you go inside the closet and hold the door shut. It doesn't matter if this second door here is open or not, especially if you're playing on single player, but if you're playing on multiplayer and the other players on the other side, make sure they're holding that door closed as well. That way, if you're holding the door closed, the ghost will not open it unless you have an electronic on or you talk or it senses you. And the same applies to this closet as well as this closet here in the boys' bedroom. So you have three hiding spots all within close proximity of each other in the entrance area. And then you also have another one in the nursery here. This hiding spot is pretty good. If you're playing on higher ghost speeds, however, then the ghost tends to overshoot and kind of bangs into this wall, it sees you, and then it gets you. So if you're playing on higher ghost speeds, make sure you have incense on you, otherwise you might be in a little bit of danger. Or if you were dealing with a revenant, then it can go in here if it senses you. Hi. And then you also have another hiding spot in the garage here. This works basically the exact same as the closets, only you have one door to worry about on each section. So you just hold the door closed and it works just like the closets. The ghost will not get you unless it senses you. And then the last official hiding spot on Tanglewood is in the basement here, and this is probably the worst official hiding spot in this map. So the problem with this hiding spot here is the ghost tends to get you a lot, and here's why. The ghost walks through this wooden board here, even though I can place a motion sensor here, and it blocks line of sight too. Even though this spot is an official hiding spot, the ghost can randomly walk right through this board here and get you here. And even if you have an incense on your hand, it is very difficult to time it correctly, and you might just end up wasting a smudge, or you might mistime it, even though it might not get you, but there is a chance that it will. So to kind of give you more reaction time, you're better off hiding here. So that way, if the ghost does come through this board here, at the very least, you can cleanse the ghost here. And of course, here is a clip showing what happens when the ghost goes through this wooden board. Alright, so now we're gonna show you what happens when you have no hiding spots enabled. So as you can see, all of the closets are blocked, all of the official hiding spots are either blocked or removed. So you can't hide here normally. However, that doesn't mean you can't hide. In fact, there are still some spots where you can hide, and we're gonna show you those right now. Let's start off with this boy's bedroom here. But Exabyte, why are you showing us the closet when it's blocked? Well, I will show you. First of all, make sure this door is closed. Open this door. Then, squeeze yourself between this door and the pile of items here, and then close this door here. And make sure you're holding this shut. Now, the ghost has a very small chance of getting you here because there is not much area for the ghost to get line of sight of you. Now, if the ghost does walk here, it will see you and it will get you. But the odds of that happening are pretty low, because what happens is the ghost walks here and then it goes back. Or if it does go deeper, it goes here, or it goes to the corner of that bed there and then just goes elsewhere. So this hiding spot here is still pretty good even if it's blocked. And then let's go to the nursery here. Now, this spot did get a slight nerf with the most recent 0.11 update. However, here, it's still pretty viable, because you can see the ghost coming, and if it does overshoot, you can always cleanse the ghost. And most oftentimes it overshoots because it's fast. So if you're playing on higher ghost speeds and you have a really fast ghost, make sure your incense is at the ready. Let's talk about the closets in the foyer here. Now, even though it's blocked, we can't use the same method as we did in the boy's bedroom. However, there is another way we can still hide here. We go into the middle here, and then close both doors in on yourself. Try to get it as centered as possible, that way you have a lower chance of the ghost getting line of sight of you. So that way, what happens is, the ghost will walk by you, back and forth, and if it decides to open the door, you can quickly close it. Make sure you're not holding the doors closed, because if it opens this door, you're actually pushing yourself outside, and the ghost will see you. So make sure you're not holding the door closed, and that way you can prevent that from happening. So if it does open a door, you can quickly close it, and the ghost should not be able to see you. This is a pretty high skill hiding spot, so I don't expect newer players to get this on the first try, but feel free to practice it on a different difficulty. And the same can be done here. You just squish yourself in the middle here, the ghost will walk by you. Now, of course, if the ghost does something like this, it will get you. So if it's hugging this wall here, you will die, but if it's going down the middle of the hallway here, it's not going to get you. All right, so now let's go to the master bedroom here, and I want to discuss two spots. Yes, there's actually two in here. So there's one in this bathroom here, and you might be wondering, where? Behind this little table here. Now, this is not the safest spot, especially if the ghost wanders in here a lot. But it is useful if you're in a pinch and if you have incense on you. That way you can also get a visual of the ghost, and you might be somewhat protected. All right, and now the other hiding spot in this master bedroom here is actually this closet here. Now, a lot of people tend to just close this door and go all the way to the back and hope the ghost doesn't get you. Don't do this. In fact, you're better off hiding here. Because even if you have this door open, the ghost will just wander back and forth wherever in this room, as long as it doesn't go into the closet here. So if you have your incense on you, this spot can be good, especially if you're going for a visual check. And the reason why it's good is because this is solid. So you have this big collider here. You can test it with motion sensors. So even if you're hiding here, the ghost will walk back and forth as long as it doesn't enter in here. But if it does, make sure you have incense on you. I would only hide here if you're in a pinch or if you are trying to get a visual. All right, so next is the garage here, and there is a couple of hiding spots to choose from. First of which is the car here. You can loop around the car here to break line of sight of the ghost. And this can be a looping spot as well, but since this is a hiding video, we're not going to go into too much detail about looping, but this will break line of sight, so the ghost will not be able to see you as long as you're crouched if you're in the back area, but if you're over here and standing, it will see you. And then the second spot is not this one, because this one's not the safest, but rather the lockers here. So all you do is open these two doors here, squish yourself between this door and the items here, and then just close this door in on yourself. And that way, if the ghost decides to interact with this door, then pull this door back, and even though there's a gap here, the ghost will not see you. So the only way the ghost will get you is if it opens this door and gets line of sight of you, or if the ghost decides to walk in this exact spot here. All right, next we have the kitchen. You just hide behind this island here, and this is also another looping spot. This also breaks line of sight if you're crouching. So as long as you're moving with the ghost and you're crouching, your electronics are off, the ghost will not know you're there, and it will wander aimlessly. All right, next we have the dining room here. Now, the dining room table is a looping spot, but it's not a hiding spot. It does not even break line of sight. So even though I am crouched here, the ghost will see me over top of this dining room table because it is slightly shorter than this kitchen island here, and the chairs have no collider either, so the chairs will not be able to help you either. And then you could hide here, but I recommend bringing incense with you. Problem is, the ghost tends to path in here sometimes, and if it comes in here, it will see you, and you will have to cleanse the ghost, and you may or may not have to move, since the ghost might know where you are. And then lastly, we have the basement here. Now, you can hide behind here or here, but bring incense, because it does tend to path here a lot. That being said, if you want a slightly better hiding spot in the basement, behind this fridge actually works surprisingly well. The only downside with this hiding spot here is if the ghost is randomly pathing over here, it will see you and it will get you. So bring incense as well. However, the main benefit with this hiding spot is the ghost sees you here less often than it does over here. Since what happens is the ghost paths
this way. It cuts the corner, goes over here, and then it goes upstairs and then goes elsewhere. And then it does it again, and then checks here again, and then goes back upstairs again. That's what tends to happen, especially if the ghost room is towards the kitchen or the garage here. Another downside with this hiding spot here is if you're dealing with a faster ghost. So if you're playing on 150 speed and the ghost speed is normal speed, it's fine. But if you're dealing with like a 150 speed Hantu or Moroi or Thay, then you're gonna have issues where the ghost will overshoot and it will see you. So if you're playing with the fast speeds and the ghost is faster, make sure you don't hide here because this is a pretty risky spot. One thing I like to add before we end this here is to make sure the ghost doesn't know that you're going into a hiding spot. So make sure your equipment is off, make sure you're not talking, and make sure the ghost does not see you. Because if the ghost sees you, or if it detects your equipment, or if it hears you talking, then it knows exactly where you are, and it will go into your hiding spot. So be careful when going into a hiding spot. Sometimes it's better to go to a different hiding spot by breaking line of sight, by going into a different room, or by going behind objects. This way, the ghost has a lower chance of knowing where you are, and you'll be much safer as a result. This is why having an escape route is always important, because if the ghost hunts where you don't expect it, then having backup routes is critical for keeping you safe. But that is all that I have for you for today for Tanglewood. Next, we will do Edgefield, and we will cover the hiding spots in great detail there as well. If you have any questions, feel free to post below, but that's all that I have for you for today. Hope you all enjoyed, and until then, I will see you next time.